Hello, my name is Addison Porter, and this is my presentation on the declaration written by the Sacred Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith called Persona Humana. The main idea from this declaration comes from Persona Humana, Section 1. It is from sex that the human person receives the characteristics which on the biological, psychological, and spiritual levels make that person a man or woman, and thereby largely conditions his or her progress towards maturity and insertion into society. Sex gives us the attributes which makes us who we are meant to be. Through these attributes, we are created into a mature and important adult in society, and we are created how God intended us to be. There has been a very high increase in premarital sexual activities for a while. This has led to a corruption in society, a disrespect for life, and it is destroying our education system. Sexual ethics are traditionally based on Christian values, but this is very far from what is happening in our world today. The first topic that I found important in this declaration is that there is to be a respect for children and marriage. In Persona Humana 7:17, it says, "Experience teaches us that love must find its safeguard in the stability of marriage, if sexual intercourse is truly to respond to the requirements of its own finality and to those of human dignity." The Second Vatican Council, started by Pope John XXIII and ended with Pope Paul VII, started in 1962 and ended in 1965, ruled that moral goodness in marriage comes from a respect for human life and that the finality, the possibility of children, is respected. Through this, we can understand that contraception should not be acceptable in our world, and the natural family planning should always be what Catholic couples do. Every married couple is different, however, and the moral goodness of a marriage is objective, and it's based on objective standards. So based on how many children a Catholic couple has, we cannot determine whether they are living in a moral marriage. Also from this council, they ruled that there should be an equal social life and education for both men and women. The second topic I'm going to discuss is homosexuality. Acting on feelings of homosexuality goes against the church, and it always will. However, we should always love homosexuals. There are two situations dealing with homosexual feelings that are most common. The first comes from an experience, education, or a lack of hormonal sexual development. And the second comes from tendencies that they feel are incurable and that they were created that way. Sometimes people that feel that their tendencies are incurable or that they were born gay feel that they deserve a pass to act on these immoral actions. This is incorrect, though, but we still must love them. Homosexuality is wrong mostly because it goes against natural law, that if you are homosexual, you and your partner are not able to procreate. We do not blame them for feeling this way, but their actions are disordered. We should care for them, though, and we should never disown our children if they are homosexual. The third topic I will be discussing is premarital sex. In our world, there is no moral compass when it comes to premarital sex. However, the church does not follow this relaxed view. The church takes its principles from human nature and divine law when talking about premarital sex. There are two main reasons that people have sex before marriage. The first is that they see themselves getting married in the future, and so they don't see the big deal in having sex before they are married. The second is a false psychological belief that there is a need for intimacy for a happy relationship to occur. However strong the relationship is, though, this is still not God's plan for the couple. Marital love is like Christ's love for the church. So therefore, if you are having premarital sex, you do not truly love your boyfriend or girlfriend. Also, an exclusion of children is common in premarital sex. There's also no real commitment, and that commitment is what makes marriage a true sacrament. Other sins are committed outside our body, but for premarital sex, we commit this sin against ourselves. The fourth topic I will be discussing is masturbation. The church's view is that it will always be wrong and it is a grave mortal sin. The church's stance is widely not accepted in our culture. There are many sexual, psychological, and sociological studies. In Persona Humana, they say, the use of sexual function has its true meaning and moral rectitude only in true marriage. Sexual pleasure outside of intercourse lacks means to bear children. The three purposes of sex and marriage is unity, pleasure, and procreation, and with masturbation you are missing procreation. Masturbation is linked to man's weakness from original sin originating with Adam and Eve. In order to overcome a masturbation, you should look at the supernatural and natural means given by the church to help with your masturbation issues. The fifth and final topic I will be discussing is chastity. Chastity is not normal in modern culture. Lots of people don't realize the gravity of their sin when they are having premarital sex or not practicing chastity in their life, even when they are married. It is false to say that acts alone do not amount to a moral sin. An act in itself can be directly opposing God's call to holiness. A mortal sin is anything that goes against the 10 Commandments, and they choose the disordered action. Consent is not always given, though, and so then it would not be a mortal sin. An example of this would be rape. We must use our bodies for what they were created for. If we do not, we enslave ourselves to sin. Even when it is hard, we must take up our cross daily and reject sin. In order to live a chaste life, you must practice discipline, avoid occasion of sin, practice modesty, have moderation and recreation, have wholesome pursuits when dating, pray, and receive the Eucharist. Also, parents have a big role in teaching their children the right ways to practice chastity. There are many controversies, though, with what I have discussed in this declaration of persona humana given by the Church. There is no greater controversy in our world than that of sexual ethics. Having sex before marriage is nearly the right choice for everyone, stated The Guardian. After a quick internet search, this is what first popped up when I searched up why people have premarital sex. It is very much considered old-fashioned to wait for marriage. There is also belief that if you think homosexuality is a sin, you are considered homophobic. If you do not use condoms or contraception, you are considered stupid for not practicing safe sex methods. And if you do not believe in masturbation and pornography, you are not being acceptable of others. In the modern world today, there continues to be a disconnect between the Church's teachings on sexual ethics and what the culture teaches us on sexual ethics. As Catholics, we must continue to listen to what the Church says. For us to find true happiness, we must respect our human nature. Civilization changes, but our basic Catholic principles do not. Christ's Church is the truth, and with the Holy Spirit's help, moral order is interpreted in the way that will bring man the most satisfaction and happiness. I would like to leave you with this quote from Persona Humana 7:15. Through marriage, the love of married people is taken up into that love which Christ irrevertibly has for the Church. Thank you.